foreign and economics policies.
Our steadfast commitment towards a principled foreign policy serves as the bedrock of our foreign relations. Our foreign policy is not only about managing our relations with the global community, it is about nurturing a safe and secure environment in accordance with the rule of law that is conducive to inclusive growth in order to benefit our people.
It is intended to harness the newfound business confidence and renewed optimism of the Philippines to stimulate greater trade, investment, and tourism. It is meant to generate employment and reduce poverty, in line with President Aquino's goals to create more jobs at home so that working abroad will be a matter of choice rather than a need.
With the President,
As its principal architect, Philippine foreign policy is anchored on three pillars. First, preservation and enhancement of the national security. Second, protection of the rights and promotions of the welfare of overseas Filipinos. And lastly, promotions and attainment of economic security. Let me quickly summarize these pillars. Under the pillars of promoting national security, our goals is to help and create and sustain a strong and safe regional neighborhood under the rule of law. In our own and its concert within international partnerships, we have pursued mutually beneficial security arrangements. We design defense and security relationships to manage new realities. In layer of traditional ideas of balance of power, we emphasize engagement in new challenges, including transnational crime, terrorism, maritime security, cooperations, as well as cooperations on humanitarian emergencies. In addition to our treaty alliance with the United States, we expanded our defense and security engagements with other countries such as South Korea, New Zealand, Italy, Spain, and France. More significantly, our Senate ratified our status of visiting force agreement with Australia in June 2012. Under the pillar of protecting Filipino national overseas, we continue to be guided by the President's call to be even more responsive to the needs and welfare of our overseas Filipino workers. Since 2011, we have repatriated nearly 20,000 Filipinos in countries turned by civil strife and devastated by natural and other disasters. We continue to repatriate a compatriot of Syria and Egypt, where violence continues. Adhering to a policy that no one's get left behind, we also had the good fortune of not losing a single life that was within our control. We additionally are addressing the challenges of Southeastians and have so far repatriated a total of over 4,000 undocumented Filipino and assisted several thousand others in meeting regulatory requirements. From 2012, under the first semester of 2013, we extended assistance to more than 34,000 overseas Filipinos and members of their families. Our foreign services personnel provide round-the-clock legal and consular assistance, counseling, shelter, and labor mediation. They undertake jail visitation, administer overseas absentee registration and voting, and help Filipinos organize themselves into communities. They network with local organizations whose purposes are aligned with our policy objectives. Taking care of 10 million migrants in 174 countries over 40 time zones has earned us the reputation as a department that never sleeps. Finally, let me discuss the economic security pillar in greater detail, as this is perhaps the pillar that offers opportunity for closer collaborations between the FA and MAP. The department has to work tirelessly to support the President's twin goals of poverty alleviation, and job creation. As a result, we have made significant progress in economic cooperation with other countries. With Europe, the 2012 Philippine-EU Partnerships and Cooperation Agreement, which is the process of ratification, will allow both sides to address new challenges on issues such as customs, trade, facilitation, energy, and migration, and that European countries are now looking at the Philippines with invested interest. In grants and loans, we have helped secure over $3 billion from Japan in official development assistance for, among others, infrastructure projects, disaster risk reduction, and peace and development for Mindanao. In addition to a 5 years grant amounting to $434 million from the Millennium Challenge Corporation for Poverty Reduction and Infrastructure Project, the U.S. in the past year have reduced over $400 million, and we have also secured approval in the last 12 months of the nearly $500 million a form of Republic of Korea in loans and grants, and close to $141 million in grants of Australia in 2013. Let me quickly summarize these pillars. Under the pillars of promoting national security, our goals is to help and create and sustain a strong and safe regional neighborhood under the rule of law. In our own and its concerned with the international partnerships, we have pursued mutually beneficial security arrangements. We design defense and security relations to manage new realities. We design defense and security relationships to manage new realities. Meanwhile, the Philippine hosting of the 23rd World Economic Forum on East Asia in 2014 and the Asia Pacific Economic Corporation in 2015 provides invaluable opportunities for the Philippines to promote itself a business and investment destination.
Philippine economic policies. The International Monetary Fund praised the Philippines for sound monetary and fiscal policies, while saying the central bank could let the peso rise further if needed in response to capital inflows. Prudent policies have underpinned a strong recovery and supported confidence, the MFA said in its annual Article 4 report on the Philippines released Tuesday in Asia. The outlook for the near term is broadly favorable, but subject to significant external risk, the lender said. In this context, the key policy challenge is to safeguard macroeconomic stability while building the foundation for stronger and more inclusive growth over the medium term. The National Statistics Office said Tuesday that inflation decelerated to a 29-month low in February as price increases in food, beverages, and most other commodities moderated. The Consumer Price Index, the country's main inflation parameter, rose 2.7% in February from a year earlier, its lowest pace since September 2009, when inflation stood at 2.2% and inflation in January was revised up to 4% from the initial estimate of 3.9% and was 4.7% in February last year. The central bank projected inflation in February settling within the 2.7% and 3.6% range, while the median forecast of 10 economists polled by Dow Jones Newswire tipped the annual increase in the CPI at 3.3%. Despite the easing inflation, economists doubt the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas will lower policy rates further given the two 0.25% point rate cuts it has implemented this year and the 3% point reduction in bank's reserve requirements effective next month. Philippine monetary policy is appropriately supportive of the economy, the IMF said in its report, with inflation firmly in the middle of the target range, while fiscal policy is appropriately focused on supporting growth in the near term while curbing the budget deficit over the medium term. The lender expressed support for the Philippine Central Bank's policy of allowing orderly adjustments of the exchange rate to market pressures. It said, however, that the bank has scope for further flexibility of the exchange rate in response to sustained inflows and could draw down in ample foreign reserves, suggesting Manila could intervene less to curb rises in the peso with investors file into Philippine assets. That's all for today's video. Thank you for watching.